Hey, do you like movies? You do? Then I bet you're already very familiar with our friends over at Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome is one of the leading exploitation and grindhouse preservation and distribution companies in the world. The company was started by cinephiles Joe Rubin and Ryan Emerson and was said to be, quote, perhaps the most important home video label in the world of genre film by the Alamo Drafthouse. Holy shit, that is one hell of an endorsement.
A big part of that is because of a three-step process I lovingly refer to as the 3 R's. Recover, restore, and release. Vinegar Syndrome has an expansive film archive of over 500 feature films, and they also work closely with archival institutions like the Museum of Modern Art, the Academy... Yeah, MoMA! The Academy Film Archive, the Library of Congress, UCLA, and the Walker Center. I can't even count how many of their releases have either never gotten a physical release or haven't been seen since the days of VHS. Many of these films look better than they have any right to look.
My favorite thing about Vinegar Syndrome is that they have their own in-house lab, which they use to restore these films to all of their glory. I can honestly say that I have never seen any grain reduction or digital trickery on their discs. Vinegar Syndrome was one of our first sponsors, and I'm overjoyed to say that they've stuck with us for 5 years.
I'm still surprised we stuck around for 5 years, to be completely honest with you.
That we've stuck with each other.
Yeah, I know. I really thought we'd be done after the first couple months in the first season.
We're still kicking, baby!
Yeah, we are. So check out their website today to pick up your copies of the Forgotten Jolly collections 1, 2, and 3. Though one might be out of print, so if you see it, make sure you grab it. Satan's Blood, Fade to Black, a VHS favorite amongst a lot of cinephiles that was unable to be released for a very long time. Taxi Girls, Don Coscarelli's Beastmaster, an HBO late-night favorite. The 3D film Silent Madness, and the weirdo French Christmas horror film Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Deadly Game, and many, many more.
Visit them today at vinegarsyndrome.com and let them know that the Shameless Picture Show sent you.
That's right, vinegarsyndrome.com for all the cult, horror, exploitation, and vintage porn you could ever want.
However much that may be.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do something really different from our last episode and talk about a movie set in Texas that has a lot of sex in it.
Okay. Did you notice, real quick, I should have mentioned this on the live stream, but I didn't. They were talking about having sex with a cow.
Yes.
In the last picture show.
Yes. And
because at first when they were saying a heifer, I thought they're just talking about a fat woman.
No, they were talking about having sex with a cow.
And the reason I put that together is because at one point they, it's like, well, having sex with a heifer is better than having sex with her. It's like, oh.
I was like embarrassed that line at the end of that conversation actually kind of brought it back around for me. I was really turned off by the whole conversation, and then when they dropped that line, I'm like, damn it, you brought me back. I thought,
what was that line again?
Something to the effect of, having sex with her is better than having sex with a heifer, or vice versa, or whatever it was, that punchline. It's like, shit. It was funny.
No, that was funny. It shouldn't be, but it was. And it's funny. So, Peter Bogdanovich talked. I should have talked about all of this, but whatever. He actually talked about. This is a continuation from the last episode,
right?
How he had to actually soften some of the characters because he said, they would more than just allude to it in the book.
Oh, okay.
Or the religious kid who was snuck off with that little girl that went farther in the book.
Okay.
And, so it's like he had to actually soften some of these characters and, I guess, for lack of a term, make it a little more romantic or romanticized and a little less of a hard edge. And, this would have been a good one to brought up. I
shook you so much from not liking it that's all we talked about.
He also talks about why he shot it in black and white, and that was a suggestion from Orson Welles because he really wanted to do the deep lens focus that Orson Welles did in Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
But then he said after talking with Orson Welles, he's like when you shoot in black and white, it's like you're not paying attention to how blue someone's eyes are or how perfectly blonde their hair is. It's like you care less about looks and you're more focused on performance because you're not being distracted by all the glitz and the glamour. Yeah. So that's why he decided to shoot it in black and white. And apparently Peter Bogdanovich was so impressed by the performances. Normally a directing credit comes up first and then the actors. He didn't want to put his credit up until all the actors got credit.
Nice.
First.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I also I do think it was a great choice when working with a period piece in that, it kind of pulled it back into that era a bit more. No, I thought that all of that was good.
Yeah.
Just didn't interest me.
So how you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great, man. I told you I could fake this, and now I'm totally...
Nah, it's all right. We can just say fucking and go straight into the episode. So for those of you listening who maybe didn't listen to the last episode, me and Nick are coming off of... We're doing 2 episodes in a row. So we did our kind of preamble on the last episode. That's why we're also continuing to... Yeah, now we're kind of continuing to talk about the Last Picture Show, but we might just go straight into the movie, and if things come up, things come up.
I kind of like our preamble being talking about the last movie that we talked about. I love it.
The Last Picture Show?
Oh, the last time on the Shameless Picture Show. The Last Picture Show.
The last little whorehouse in Picture Show, Texas.
It took me until now, but I finally thought of a segue into my name for Last Picture Show that would have been amazing. A man who just needs to learn how to tackle.
That was a good one. Damn it.
Just need to figure out how to tackle. That's actually another little running gag in that movie that was something that I enjoyed.
A gag in that movie that I really liked was that, but near the end when Sonny was watching the game,
yes,
and he's like, oh, when did you graduate? Last year. Huh. Oh, heck, really?
Seems like a lot longer.
You guys didn't know your fundamentals, not like this team.
He's just sitting there hanging on the sign like, thanks, Dick.
I know.
And now for something completely different. I'm actually really glad that I watched them in the order that I did, because had I watched them in the opposite order, starting with the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, I think I would have liked Last Picture Show even less.
Yeah, you definitely have to end with Little Whorehouse. Yep. All right, I'll read my intro.
You have to finish at the...
Yes.
Warning! This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I am Michael Viers, and with me, as always, is a man who once threatened to knock me so flat I'd need to roll down my socks to shit.
Nick Richards.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing a film that, as a kid, I thought was going to be a very adult film and not a musical, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Based loosely on the real-life chicken ranch in LaGrange, Texas, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas tells the story of Miss Mona Stanley, who runs a brothel called the Chicken Ranch. Mona is the current madam of the little brothel that could, and it's got a long-standing history, and it's a very open secret in Gilbert, Texas. As Deputy Fred says in the film, if you grew up anywhere in Texas, you knew at an early age that they were selling something out there, and it wasn't poultry. Ed Earl Dodd is the sheriff of Gilbert and does not interfere with Mona or the Chicken Ranch's business. Who is to interfere with a fixture that's been part of this town for decades? But he also has a relationship with Mona, so I'm sure that plays a part. Despite the Chicken Ranch being a big part of the town, and Miss Mona donating sizable sums to public works, charity, and the community as a whole, a big city television host named Melvin P. Thorpe decides that he does not agree with the Chicken Ranch and decides to blow the whistle on live television in song form. This puts the heat on the town of Gilbert, Miss Mona, and of course, Sheriff Ed Earl for allowing this to go on for so long. Will the Chicken Ranch close? Will it continue to operate? To quote Dr. Rusty Venture from the Venture Brothers, they can't sing forever. The film is based on the Broadway play with the same name, written by Larry L. King and Peter Masterson, with music and lyrics by Carol Hall. Originally, King and Masterson were going to direct the screen adaptation, but Universal Studio executives were a little reluctant handing such a big-budget production over to two first-time directors. So Colin Higgins, who just came off the Dolly Parton film 9 to 5, was brought in to direct. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas would go on to be a financial success, and not only was it the number one movie in America, but it stopped E.T.'s 6-week run as number one.
Wow.
Charles Durning was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards. He played the governor, who had the amazing sidestep song.
And the hat move.
Yep. Oh my God, that hat move deserved him an Oscar. But it was also nominated for Best Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical, and Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical for Dolly Parton at the Golden Globes.
Wow.
The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas was written by Larry L. King and Peter Masterson, with some revisions by Colin Higgins, with music by Carol Hall, Patrick Williams, and 2 new songs by Dolly Parton, with cinematography by William A. Fraker. The film stars Dolly Parton, I'm giving her top billing, Burt Reynolds, Charles Durning, Jim Nabors, and Dom DeLuise as Melvin P. Thorpe. From 1982, directed by Colin Higgins, this is The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Down at the Chicken Ranch, where a lonely girl could have a chance, and a homely boy could find romance at the Chicken Ranch. The sheriff and Miss Mona for years had been red-hot lovers and real good friends, but trouble snowballed like an avalanche at the Chicken Ranch. When Melvin Thorpe, a reporter of sorts, a self-righteous crusading fanatic, got on TV like you wouldn't believe and pointed a finger right at it, exposing Miss Mona, accusing the sheriff, then it rose to a roar from a whimper. It got all out of hand. A fit hit the fan when Thorpe stirred up everyone's temper. The Chicken Ranch has been recouped into song and dance, and I know you wouldn't want to miss the chance to come to the Chicken Ranch. It's foot stomping, rug romping, sexy, good fun. Come on down and bring someone. There's good times and trouble and fiery romance at the best little Texas Chicken Ranch.
So long, partner.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Worked in 19... Oh, no, that's the other one.
I put a lot of oomph into
That was, well, deserving. This film is deserving.
Yes. So, Nick, I've seen this movie before.
Okay.
You haven't not.
I have not.
What did you think about The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas?
I loved this little whorehouse. It was my favorite whorehouse of all of the whorehouses that I have experienced.
Which is a sizable list for those of you listening at home. Sorry, Raina.
Dolly Parton is a fucking gem. She is the best.
Oh my! Real quick, she just also said for Dollywood that any employee who works at Dollywood, if they want to pursue higher education, she will pay for their entire tuition, their books, and their housing.
Holy shit. Go Dolly.
Yeah. So anyways, Dolly Parton's a gem.
Yes. So Dolly Parton is amazing. And of course, I'm a sucker for anything that's this sex positive, especially when it came out in such a conservative time.
It's not. It's sex positive. It's sex worker positive. It's police positive.
At the same time,
religion positive. What the fuck?
What it really is, like, the villain of this film are journalists, which I have a real problem with in, from today's lens, especially being in a somewhat
investigative journalism is the devil.
But I think more than that, it's the judgment of sex workers that was the villain of the film. It wasn't just that he was doing investigative journalism. It's that this in much the same way as the ending of Boogie Nights, when they were this, family that Burt Reynolds was a part of in this weird sex world. Like, this ending had that same kind of vibe to it, where it was, and not just the ending, actually, it kind of held through the entire film, but they were this sweet little family that all looked out for each other, and
Sex work and Burt Reynolds. It goes together like peanut butter and jelly.
and all Dolly Parton's duet with Burt Reynolds when they first reveal that they've been sleeping together is phenomenal.
Oh my God, I love
running
that
around
song.
with you or whatever.
Sing it to me, honey.
I like fancy frilly things, high heel shoes and diamond rings, ragtime bands and western swing, and sneaking around with you.
Well, I like beer and rodeos, detective books and dominoes, football games and Cheerios. Said sneaking around with you.
Sneaking around with you, going around that too, doing what lovers do. Whenever you're sneaking around.
Yeah, and like Burt Reynolds wasn't bad. He wasn't a bad singer in that
No.
in that song, but like, yeah, sneaking around with like, oh my God, like Burt Reynolds wasn't bad, but as soon as Dolly started just like belting it, I'm like, oh Burt, you can't compete.
Also, her outfit in that scene
Yeah.
was something special.
Apparently, from what I've read, that so when Burt Reynolds was cast, he wanted some changes to the script, but he specifically requested that he wanted to sing.
Oh, that's sweet.
I know. I was like, I love you, Burt Reynolds. It's past by the time you're listening to this, but we were recording this on February 11th, which is Burt Reynolds' birthday.
Yeah, happy
So-
birthday, Burt.
Oh, Burt Reynolds, like, he was always an actor growing up. He was a staple in my childhood, Smoking the Bandit and so
Yeah.
on, and I always really liked him. But as I've gotten older, he's become one of my favorite actors.
Nice.
Not only because, like, in movies like this or whatever, where he's just charming and kind of fun, but then, like, you see him in more serious roles, and he's really fucking good.
Yeah, yep. No, absolutely. He has, his performances have aged very well. For the most part. I'm sure I say that, and there's some movie that I haven't seen or heard of or don't remember where he was awful and his performance did not age well, and somebody's going to call me out on it. But from
Until
my
then.
recollection, my interaction with his performances. So yeah, my initial thoughts, amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved this movie too. And like I knew going into it, I knew I was gonna like it because I have seen it, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Okay.
And like honestly, like I just knew the reputation of the film, where it was like got a saucy title,
A lot
it's
of
got
boy
Burt
butts.
Reynolds trying to sing and everything. I knew it was gonna be I don't know. I thought it was gonna be. I was going to view it as more like a black spot on Burt Reynolds' career. Like, not in a bad way, but like I thought it was going to be very kitschy, kind of like Cop and a Half, which I
Okay.
fucking love Cop and a Half. Burt Reynolds and a kid being cops together. What's not to love?
It's like Turner and Hooch, but the Hooch is a human.
Yeah. But like, one, Burt Reynolds is really good in this movie, but he's good in everything. Dolly Parton's really good. She does a
Phenomenal.
decent amount of acting, but it's mostly in her own productions. But like, you have this in 9 to 5, you sometimes forget how good she actually was.
Yeah.
Because she was so natural in this film. But then like, so I've got a love-hate thing for musicals. Some of them I really don't like at all. But when they work really well. And this is one of those cases where the songs were catchy. It was legitimately funny, but at the same time, it also didn't take the cartooniness too far.
Yeah.
Like, Dom DeLuise as Melvin P. Thorpe is a legitimately good performance.
Right?
Like, it's, yeah, he's goofy and over the top, but there are also times, like, where he's playing this character. I forget it's Dom DeLuise.
Yes.
And it's like, I truly believe he's this character, and it's like, it works so well.
I love how we were introduced to that character also in the changing room as he's, like, he's talking about, like, what he does and why he's so passionate about it, and at the same time he's, like, putting on this girdle and then this, like, cod piece, and then he pulls up his pants that are stuffed and he adjusts his Jimmy Dean sausage, as Burt Reynolds described it. Really said so much about the character without any exposition.
Yeah.
I thought it was great writing.
Texas got a whorehouse in it. But like, that's also another thing. The songs were incredible.
Yeah. I want to go back to you talking about Dolly's performances, because there are two scenes that I'd like to point out in particular. One of them is, and I said earlier that this film was sex positive and sex worker positive, and there was, I think because it was so positive, the moment where Burt Reynolds' character, Ed Earl, loses Dolly Parton's trust is when he calls her a whore. And he words it of like, at least I'm not a whore, after she told him he had to grow up. And her reaction to that brought me to tears. It was like she's so strong and confident throughout the whole film, and then you see her so hurt by a sentence, and something that she seems relatively proud of, and that she doesn't feel bad about, but then...
Because she doesn't view it as a negative thing, but then he treats it as one.
Yes, to see, it's more of... It's not that she feels bad about herself in that moment, it's that she no longer trusts how he sees her. Which I thought was spectacular.
Yep, and then it's funny because like normally scenes like this make me roll my eyes, and I'm not a religious person at all, but their conversation about like
that's where I'm
God
going
and
next.
religion under the star, like it's like fuck, this scene is so good, and it shouldn't be.
I'm gonna. This might qualify as hot take. I think that scene is the most romantic scene I have ever seen in film or TV.
Ever. Oh, fuck.
The way that...
I'm not saying I disagree,
But hot take, yeah.
Yeah.
The way that they're lying there under the stars, you've heard kind of the backstory of their relationship, where they are very intimate, but also totally unattached. What's so romantic about it to me is how they're both talking about their hopes and dreams. These two simple characters that are happy living in their small town, where the most that the sheriff ever has to deal with is a mule sitting on somebody's car. And everybody kind of respects the fact that there's this, house of ill repute just on the outskirts of town, and like they respect her, and she comes into town to donate, and they're like, oh, yep, she's wonderful. Like, they're kind of in their own little bubbles and very happy to be there. And then when they're both lying there, and him talking about wanting to be in the legislature, and her saying she used to want to be a ballerina, it was so intimate. In a way that I haven't seen before.
But then also funny, too. It's like, I'm too top-heavy to be a ballerina.
Right. And then there was also that line about him. I saw a picture of an alien once, had a bald head and no pecker. And she's like, oh, I wouldn't be interested in that then. And like genuinely, but also lighthearted. It was so perfect.
Yeah. Like it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And this movie is like, it's almost a shame this movie has got like. I think this is a movie that over the last couple of years has really has been coming back up. But there was a period of time where, because of the racy title and everything, this film was kind of looked down upon as being kind of a joke.
Okay, there are a lot of boobs and butts in it.
Yeah, it's been interesting to kind of see based on Letterboxd, just like that people are rediscovering this movie. And honestly, I made a reference to it in my intro. I first seen this movie when I was a kid. But then, like, the first time as an adult having heard about this movie again was in The Venture Brothers.
Okay.
There is a scene in The Venture Brothers where Brock is watching The Boys, and Dr. Venture decides to stay in because he rented a racy little film starring Dolly Parton called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And Brock goes, Doc, I don't think that movie's what you're expecting it to be. And he goes, I know everything I gotta know. And then, like, it cuts to later on where Brock is like walking by, and you get the opinion that like Dr. Venture's been watching it for a while. He goes, Brock, I am this close to seeing Dolly's goods. I mean, they can't sing forever.
Oh, damn they. Here's a review from Letterboxd on this that I really liked. It was a 4-star review. If you think I'm going to rate a wholesome, sex-positive, campy, homoerotic musical starring my unlikely angel Dolly Parton any less than 4 stars, that's where you'd be wrong. A treat every time.
I saw that review and I was like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was David Brunner.
Yep. I was about to read a review and I realized it's the one I wrote.
Some brilliant film critic has said, being on the Shameless Picture Show and being devastatingly handsome, I give this film 4 stars.
No, my exact review on Letterboxd was, if you aren't crying after Hard Candy Christmas, you have no soul.
Hey, yeah, maybe I'll dye my hair.
And maybe I'll move somewhere.
Maybe I'll get a car.
Maybe I'll drive so far they all lose track.
Me, I'll bounce right back.
Maybe I'll sleep real late.
I can top that and sound like an idiot. Maybe I'll lose some weight. And maybe I'll clear my junk.
Maybe I'll just get drunk on apple wine.
Me, I'll be just fine and dandy. Lord, it's like a hard candy.
And then I also said that the sidestep is so damn catchy.
Oh my god, and he does that hat move so many times. I love where he puts it on sideways and then quickly rotates, even though the hat stays in place, so then it drops onto his head in the right once they're aligned. He does it so many times, and it's so great. And I also liked St. Pappy O'Daniel's early work.
Who?
He was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That actor, as Pappy O'Daniel's Flower Hour.
Okay.
Politicking.
But no, like, I don't know, this movie just put me in a really good mood. Like,
Yes.
it's, like, all the songs were really good. And like I said, that song, Hard Candy Christmas, so I found out after the fact that movie, that was one of the songs that were in the original musical. Because when I was listening to that song, I was like, because like, I saw that it said additional songs by Dolly Parton. I said to Amanda, it's like, I'm willing to bet money that this was a Dolly Parton song. Because it just felt so different than the rest of them. And it just honestly felt like a Dolly Parton song. And I was wrong. I would have lost that money. But that is such a legitimately good song.
Yeah.
And then this movie also reminded me, because I completely forgot about this, that I Will Always Love You is originally a Dolly Parton song.
Yes. Yep.
Like, before Whitney Houston redid it, that was a Dolly Parton song.
So Raina and I were, during that scene, she was saying, oh, we should watch The Bodyguard. And I told her I've never seen that. So that's one that I'll add to our my shame list for us to do an episode on. Because I will always love you.
And then, like, just like when that scene, because like normally my issue with musicals is sometimes they'll sing and I'll just be like, why are we singing? Like, why is this happening? Like, because sometimes there's some musicals where it almost feels like they stop the story to sing.
And then it's like, okay, now we're back. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, very much like Phantom of the Paradise or even like Sweeney Todd, which is one that I really love.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. This movie does what I really appreciate in a musical, where when emotions run so high that there's nothing else that you can do, then they sing and it moves the story forward. You know, like I feel like a lesser than musical, they would, you know, Melvin P. Thorpe's song, there's Texas Got a Whorehouse in it, would be its own thing, and then he would announce the world as, it'd almost be like a lesser than musical. He'd sing that song in like the back, with Burt Reynolds, and then go do his broadcast. But no, these songs work themselves into the story. Or like in the end, when Burt Reynolds goes to see Dolly at the Chicken Ranch before it closed, and they have that beautiful lighting coming in, and that's when she sings "I Will Always Love You." Like, that just felt like she didn't know how to put her words into she couldn't put it into words, so she just had to belt it out and sing it.
Yeah.
That's what I like in a musical, is when the songs feel an accompaniment. Like when we watched what was that Judy Garland movie we watched?
Meet Me in St. Louis.
It was a fine musical. It was fine, but for me, it's just like the songs just felt like they had their story, and then they just kind of added songs in. And almost, to me, there's some musicals where it just feels like almost like bad porn. Where, like, here's your story. Oh, we just got to throw some sex in, when the sex should be worked into the story.
Right, yes. You need
So,
to
like,
care
you know,
about
nothing
the
against Meet Me in St.
artistry.
Yeah, nothing against Meet Me in St. Louis. It was a fine movie, but, like, the songs just kind of felt tacked on.
Yeah.
Where in, like, something like The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, it felt necessary.
Going back to the song, and I'm sure I'm paraphrasing incorrectly, but I like Running Around With You, or Sneaking Around With You.
Sneaking around with you.
That, to me, felt authentically like the two of them as they were getting ready for their coital interactions, like that they were just having fun, kind of like, I could imagine me and Raina doing that, as, you know, singing to each other in a playful way. It felt really authentic in a way that even when the music and musicals do work, it's like you're accepting that they're bursting out into song because you're in the context of a musical. That moment felt authentic even outside of the context of a musical for me.
Yeah. And like I said, Burt Reynolds wasn't bad in that scene.
No, it was like kind of that talk singing, but he pulled it off.
You know, he said he worked for a couple months with a voice coach. So,
Nice.
like, you know, like, it seems like he it's almost like when you watch a bad actor, like, but not like, oh, I cast my buddy Steve in a role and he's not very good. Like, when there's someone who's been classically trained in acting who's just still not very good, you know, where, like, you can see the gears turning, and you can see that they know how to build a good performance. They're just not
craft.
very good at it.
Yeah, there's craft there, but
they're just not very good at it. That's actually some of my favorite acting, because it's like you can see them trying.
yeah.
To me, Burt Reynolds felt like he didn't just show up and said, like, okay, we're going to sing this. It seems very much like he took some lessons. He was trying very hard, and he
Yes.
just wasn't a great singer,
Yep.
but you could see that he was trying.
Yeah. Which, again, in the context in which the song and the scene was set up, I think it worked perfectly. Like, you didn't need a brilliant singer for that. Even against the amazing Dolly Parton. Like, their chemistry worked, and that's what you needed, not a second brilliant singer. Mm-hmm. I loved the bit with his tiny little Japanese slingshot panties, too. That was the way he, like...
That's what the snap's for.
The way that he, like, ran and jumped under the covers is like, nope, yeah, that's all you get. It was very cute and charming and made me fall in love with the two of them.
You know, Burt Reynolds is effortlessly charming all the time. I think so. Like,
Especially
in
Without a Paddle.
Oh my god, I love him in Without a Paddle.
Did I ask you to talk?
No.
Come with me. I'll shoot your testicles off and stuff them. Mount them on my mantelpiece.
That's going to be an ugly mantelpiece.
Go. That's it.
That's one of my favorite lines in just cinema history.
Yeah, and
it's because of how good he is in that scene. But what I just don't want to forget this. What I was going to say is, like, Burt Reynolds is just usually effortlessly charming.
Yep.
But then, like, so is Dolly in that
Yes.
scene where she
Oh,
was like,
God,
she's like,
yes.
I paid $25 plus shipping. I want to see you in. Like, she just seemed like it didn't seem like she was acting at any point. It just felt like she's just living Dolly world.
Yeah. And I think, going back to what I said about that scene where he says, at least I'm not a whore, I think what made it so devastating was that you did get the sense up until that point that he did respect her, regardless of, like, that he did not judge her at all for this, and that they had this really sweet I loved when she said, well, I haven't slept with anybody but you, but I'm sure that's not true of you. And he's like, well, actually, you probably don't know this, but you're the only person that I've been with in the last 3 years. It was like, oh my God, they love each other and they just won't say it. Like, I was so wrapped up in their love story, which made me furious at him when he said what he said.
Well, like, at the beginning when they're, like, you know, saying they're like, you know, why get married? It just ruins the whole thing. And they're both kind of agreeing with each other, but you can tell deep down that neither of them. It reminds me, actually, you know, like, you know, when you're like first starting a relationship and you're trying to make yourself seem like the best possible version of yourself.
Yeah.
I remember when me and Amanda first got together and we were talking about, like, you know, likes, dislike, things like that. And we were talking about, like, food. And, you know, we're both like, you know, like, 'cause full disclosure, me and people hate on it, but me and Amanda love McDonald's. It's just kind of like a comfort food thing for us. No. But we're both like, we both kind of like it. We don't have it that often, and because we're both lying to each other because we didn't want to seem like we just ate like a fuck ton of McDonald's or anything. And then it came out like later on that it's like, we both love it. And it's like, that's how it felt with them. Where like, they wanted to believe in their heart of hearts that they didn't believe in matrimony and monogamy and all that shit, but they do. They do. Here's
my parallel version of that same story.
Tell me an embarrassing story about you and Rain. I've been telling embarrassing stories about me all night.
So when we were first dating, I had this idea for what I thought was like a silly but still romantic, like at-home date. So we were going to have an at-home date night. And I said, I'll take care of dinner. And my concept was I would go to McDonald's and get like 2 20-piece nuggets and like 3 large fries and then put them on my fanciest plates with like the sauce packets arranged, so fancily. And I got it all set up, and Rain was almost here, and then all of a sudden this wave of doubt comes over me. I'm like, what if she thinks this is the stupidest fucking thing she has ever seen in her life? Like, she's going to come in and, like, I said romantic dinner, and you threw McDonald's on, like, your mediocre china, and that's what you think I want? And so then I start sweating. I'm panicking. She comes in, she sees it, and she is almost in tears because she thought it was so silly and romantic and perfect. It was amazing. It was perfect.
I love that story.
And now every once in a while is like a silly romantic thing. I'll go get the same thing and lay it out real fancy in this like kind of family stuff. We take them, throw away all the boxes and packaging. So there's just this big bowl full of nuggets.
It's your Mrs. Doubtfire move.
Right. Yeah.
Man, Mrs. Doubtfire, when she fucks up the food and she just orders like Boston Market or whatever.
Or the Donald Trump move when he has a sports team in the White House and just orders them all Burger King.
Or the Red Foreman move when he fucked up dinner and just bought KFC and, arranged all nice on the plate. And Katie's like, "Oh, this is really good." And he goes, "I didn't overcook the chicken." She's like, "Where'd you hide the bucket, Red?"
I love how many pop culture references we were able to rattle off with that same concept.
I'm just going to admit it here on the podcast. I fucking love fast food. Fuck off.
Here's the thing.
I pay attention to, and me, I pay attention to food and movies anyways.
Right. I love cooking. I love going to fancy-ass restaurants and ordering the most pretentious shit on there and being like, ooh, I can detect tints of rosemary, and is that like...
Should have been.
Yeah. I also like holes in the... Like, I like finding holes in the wall with the best, diners, drive-ins, and dive style on my own. We've both said we think that he's actually probably a pretty good person and doesn't deserve all the shit he gets.
He's a classically trained French chef.
Right. But then he made donkey sauce.
Yeah. Man likes what he likes. But the same thing with me and Amanda. Like, we, for Valentine's Day, we're going to a really nice upscale Korean restaurant.
Yeah.
That, it's going to be really expensive. But then, like, we're both stupidly excited for, like, after a hockey game, we're going to go to, I don't know if you've ever been, but in Milwaukee, there's a place called Real Chili.
No, I'm not familiar.
They kind of make, like, a Cincinnati style, but I think theirs is better.
Okay.
Where it's, bed of pasta, beans on their own, and then they put, like, their seasoned ground beef on top of it, and then just, like, a fuck ton of cheese and onions, and it's, like, we're both stupidly excited for it.
Yeah. Something that I have been doing with the kids late. Now it's just turning into a cooking and fast food podcast.
Yeah.
What I've been doing with the kids lately, it blew their minds. I covered the dining room table with aluminum foil. Took Cool Ranch and nacho cheese Doritos and poured them out and mixed them up. And then I topped it with like cheese sauce, shredded cheese, beans, corn, chopped up steak, sour cream. And so it's just on the table in a big heap, and then we all sit around it and eat tabletop Doritos nachos.
I'm all for this.
But, where I was going with that is, so I do like food. I like cuisine. I like interesting, I like seeking out the interesting. But then, there's a reason why McDonald's is as popular as it is because it's like cocaine for your tongue. It's like, it triggers all of those happy things in your brain. And so, fuck yeah, it's good.
Meals.
Yes, of course it's good. Of course we want it. And it's cool to indulge in that kind of thing. I really liked when Jamie Oliver was pushing his, you can eat really well thing. He's like, we got McDonald's every once. As long as you're treating it like a treat and not your diet, fuck yeah, enjoy that cheeseburger.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Because, there's people who have, who are eat really healthy and they still eat like shit. Like, I have friends who are vegan and they eat nothing but vegan junk food all the time.
Yeah, it's...
but very much like crack for your taste buds or crack for your brain, Dolly Parton's music.
Oh man,
I had to bring it back some.
I think we took a wrong turn somewhere. We need to get back on the freeway of this conversation.
So we were talking about their in Sneaking Around with You and how they're both trying to pretend like they were against marriage, but turns out they were both really, really for it. And like I said, it's I also just loved watching Burt Reynolds process as his character of Ed Earl, where there's layers. So when he hears about Melvin P. Thorpe, and okay. That him and Dolly are fooling around, and you probably think that it's going to become a romance of some sort, but you don't really know.
Yeah. But
so you're like, okay, he doesn't want this to end because, he doesn't want Dolly's business to get fucked up because she actually does help the town a lot. But, at the same time, it looks bad on him that he's a sheriff that's been letting these illegal activities happen. But, but realistically, he's doing all this because of how much he fucking loves her.
Yeah. We've brought up over and over again that we both love rom-coms, and we always go into the hypothetical of I don't like rom-coms. Well, then make one that you do like. I would point to The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas as an incredibly funny rom-com. This is a romance at its heart. And it's so sweet. Their chemistry is off the charts.
Yeah, honestly, their chemistry is so good. I imagine and every time that they called cut that they would just start fucking. That's how legitimate it seemed. But, I also loved seeing Dolly Parton in this role, too, because, so while she is a really religious person and has a lot of good ethics and good morals, I remember hearing a story with her one time where, as a little girl, there was a woman in the small town that she grew up in who was a prostitute. And her, she had big blonde hair and wore tight clothes and was really chesty and everything, very much like Dolly Parton's look.
Yeah.
And Dolly said, I thought she was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. My mom would always tell me, don't look at her. She's, she's less than you. She's yada, yada, yada. And Dolly said, I was so taken back by her. She's I based my entire look off.
Oh.
So it's of course Dolly Parton's in a fucking movie about a whorehouse.
Yeah, there's so much in that.
Because she did say she was a little reluctant about doing it at first. Because she's her image and everything. But then she's like, you know what? Fuck it.
I'm so glad she made that decision and similar decisions as her career continued, I think. What is allowing her to still be so relevant based on the type of entertainer she was back then. You look at her contemporaries and what are their careers like today? She is still culturally significant.
Yeah, and people don't know Linda Ronstadt the way that they know Dolly. People, people who know music or whatever probably know who Linda Ronstadt is, but the average person probably not.
Right.
They
the recognize the name, but
yeah, the average person probably knows Willie Nelson.
Yeah,
who was apparently in talks at one point of being in the Burt Reynolds role, which this would be a very different movie. But she is my unapologetic love for Loretta Lynn, the coal miner's daughter. People don't know her the way that they know Dolly Parton, and they were just as significant. They had just as big of careers.
Yep.
Granted, Loretta Lynn never had a theme park, but one could argue that she is one of the biggest country stars of all time. But you mentioned Loretta Lynn. People are like, I think I know who that is, but you mentioned Dolly Parton. Even people don't know her song, like, oh, I know Dolly Parton.
She has a charisma that I would put on par with, like Cyndi Lauper. Like
I fucking love Cyndi
charisma that is undeniable. That you just look at them and you need to be spending time with them, even if it's on a screen.
And her charisma and even her music transcends genre.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like Cyndi Lauper, I unapologetically love pop music.
Yeah.
But Cyndi Lauper's music transcends pop music.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
who don't like pop music like Cyndi Lauper. There's punks who like Cyndi Lauper. There's, hardcore music nerds who like Cyndi Lauper. There's the common person who likes Cyndi Lauper. Dolly Parton does the same thing.
Yes.
Because Dolly Parton has transcended the country genre.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to do. Like, people who don't like country music fucking will bop to Jolene.
As The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas transcends the rom-com.
Yeah, I think it transcends the musical as well.
Yeah?
Because, like, while it's definitely a music-heavy film, I don't feel like it overdoes it. It doesn't overstay its welcome. So much so that from what I read, that they actually had to cut songs out of the original, from the original production to make room for it. Like,
okay.
And like I said, the songs that they had felt really well placed. Yeah. And, I keep going back to the Sidestep song. I've been singing that song for a while. And then, like I said, I think Hard Candy Christmas is one of the best songs in this movie.
Oh, that one, I think with that song in particular, I got, in the first watch through, I got unnecessarily hung up on, what does Hard Candy Christmas mean? Like, I was
Who cares?
And, like, so that prevented me from engaging with the song until, like, Raina's like, oh, I can Google that, and she explained it to me. I'm like, okay. And then, so for the back half of the song, I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm here.
So what does it mean? Tell me.
It is a rough time, a rough period, like a Christmas in which all that your parents can afford to give you is like penny candy or hard candy.
Oh, see, I kind of put that together because I was like, I can wrap my mind around that. No one likes hard candy.
Like, I assumed, I could infer its meaning from the context of the song, but I wanted to know why Hard Candy Christmas meant that. Like, what the specific connection was.
It's funny, though. Like I said at the beginning, like, I would have pegged that as being, like, a Dolly song. And part of the reason being is, like, the only movie she makes really anymore are, like, her, like, independently produced, like, Christmas movies.
You're right.
So I was like, oh, Hard Candy Christmas, that's a Dolly song.
That checks out.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories I've heard recently. So Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus are really close.
Okay. That makes sense.
And mainly because, like, back when Hannah Montana was on, Dolly Parton played, like, her like, aunt or something in the show. So they were really close. And one, I fucking love Miley Cyrus. No, like, just flat stop.
Yep.
She's fucking great. Her new album is killer.
I haven't heard much of it, but I do like her.
Her new album is killer. I recommend everyone go out and listen to it. She said two of her musical idols were Stevie Nicks and Dolly Parton.
Nice.
And she said she's learned a lot from Dolly Parton. She said, and I love hearing Miley's stories about Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton doesn't have internet. She doesn't have.
She just has an entire imagination library.
Yeah, so Dolly Parton, she said if you want to send Dolly Parton something, like she said she's got internet on the property, but not in her house. So like, you have to, like, if you send her an email, it goes to, like, her team, and then they walk it up to the house. Oh. So what Dolly will do is she'll send faxes. Dolly Parton has a fax machine in her house. And apparently, like, in one of Miley's songs, Dolly Parton sings a couple verses, and she said Dolly recorded it on a tape and mailed it to her. And then, like, apparently some stories that apparently, like, in, like, the news or whatever, Miley was, like, seen outside wearing, like, sweatpants or some shit. She said, I was photographed, I was, like, drinking, like, a coffee or something, had sunglasses on, sweatpants, wasn't looking great. And she said the first person to call me was Dolly. And she said Dolly called me because she was like, Miley, what have I told you? You can't be seen out in public not looking your best because people are gonna. That's how people are gonna judge you. It's like, and she said you could go out in designer sweatpants and full makeup, and Dolly Parton would still think that's dressing down because she said Dolly Parton doesn't go out in public unless she is Dolly.
Yes. Yep.
And I was like, man, I fucking love that woman.
Right? She seems like and you never know, so it's easy to fall in love with celebrities and then find out that their persona and who they are as a person don't match. But she seems like such a big-hearted, generous... Now, that might be that her breasts are so large that you assume that there's just a giant heart that's pushing them so far out.
She's a Time Lord. She's got 2 hearts. That's why they're so big.
Exactly. God, I wish Dolly Parton was a Time Lord. That would be the best 4 seasons of Doctor Who.
Now, first things first. Be honest. How do I look?
Different.
Good different or bad different?
Just different.
Am I Ginger?
At one point, just in one episode, just like the TARDIS opens up and just like, howdy, y'all. I'd lose my shit. I'd start watching Doctor Who again.
And you know that you would immediately say, they're bigger on the inside. Thank you. Mic drop. Okay. I'm out.
But no, I see what you're like. You don't know. You could think someone's a great person and then find out like, oh, that I hate to use his name, but Bill Cosby.
Yeah, right.
Bill Cosby was America's dad forever.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, wait, Bill Cosby did what?
Yep. So I try to temper that reaction whenever I have it, but she does seem genuinely a really beautiful person.
Yeah, and this episode is a complete stark contrast to our last episode, which was filled with so much negativity. This one is filled with just love for Dolly Parton. And
the last picture show would have been so much better with Dolly Parton. So much so that when they completely remade it, added Dolly Parton, Burt Reynolds, and music. Well, the first one had great music, but when they totally remade it, it was flawless. I think this is just a remake of the last picture show.
It's a remake of the last picture show with everything that you wanted it in.
Yes.
It's a sequel to the last picture show. Mona is JC, and she's grown up quite a bit.
Yeah.
She's used her family's oil money to invest in the chicken ranch. Dwayne is probably Ed Earl. Deputy Fred is Sonny.
She said that she loved him since she was 16.
Yeah, see?
I love it. This is my new hardcore fan theory. I believe this to be canon.
This is my favorite fan theory you've come up with since that horses are the true enemy in Gone with the Wind. I told my mom about that. She's like, he said what?
Watch it again and tell me I'm wrong.
I agree with you.
Those stern words were directed at your mother.
Mom, if you're listening, if you figured out how to listen to this, well, of course, you're eventually going to figure out how to listen to this because you asked me to show you how to listen to this show. Rewatch Gone with the Wind. Horses are the enemy. Nick says it.
They kill so many horses in that movie.
And horses are the cause of so much of their tragedy. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? This is going to be a shorter episode, y'all.
It is.
We're sorry.
It's one of those... we've had a few of these, and I always... We decide the episode that we're going to do. We watch the movie, and then, you can't bail. You can't go, you know what? We're not going to do that. Because there are a few movies that, I love, but they're not necessarily, let's do a deep dive on the, this, that, or the other thing. And they tend to be ones that I want to gush over. Because I'm so busy gushing that I'm not thinking about,
Yeah, this is not a deep dive. This is just a fucking love for Best Little Whorehouse. And the reason I think that's okay is because Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is a movie that not many people are talking about. It was it was a musical made in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was also one of the most successful musicals made in the 80s. And it's a movie that I truly think is ripe for rediscovery.
I completely agree with that. I would, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm feeling safe to say that the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is Shameless approved.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So far this season, we've had mostly Shameless approved.
Yeah.
The Birdcage,
Approved.
Shameless Picture Show approved. Boogie Nights, 100% Shameless Picture Show approved.
The Last Picture
Show, not.
Not so much.
It is from me. It is not from Nick.
It's
And
Michael
then
Viers approved.
The best little whorehouse in Texas is Shameless Picture Show approved. I should have Amanda make up like some stamps.
A little, clunk. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this movie. Now I borrowed my mom's DVD copy. I'm gonna have to buy my own.
Nice, beautiful. I had to rent both of them today. I spent Amazon $8 today to watch both movies.
I'm sorry. $8 is cheaper than you would have bought them.
Oh,
for.
totally.
You should have just signed up for a free trial of Showtime. That's where I watched Last Picture Show.
Pretty sure I already did that for a movie not too long ago in order to do that, and then canceled it right away. So I don't think I can sign up for another trial.
Sorry.
No, I'm happy to do it.
I always try to find movies that are streaming, but we both just kind of picked without thinking and didn't do any research.
No, we rent movies all the time through that kind of thing, so it's normal expense from.
All right.
My side.
Audiences, if you guys are listening, which I hope you are, please tell us. What did you think about the last? Not the Last Picture Show. What did you think about the Last Picture? What did you think about the best little whorehouse in Texas? Is it the best little whorehouse in Texas, or is there something better?
Have you been to a better whorehouse in Texas?
Do they sing? And then also tell me your favorite song and why it's Hard Candy Christmas.
Yes,
or the Sidestep. Or Sneaking Around. God damn, every song in this movie is good.
Send us video of you doing that hat trick that the governor did.
I'm going to put it out right now. If anyone can do a good version of that governor hat trick, the first person to send us a good one gets some free swag.
Yes. Do it. Extra points if you sing Sidestepping while you do it. You don't have to do the whole song. Just give me a couple bars.
Yeah, just give me a couple bars of Sidestepping. That would be great. And, we need more Dolly Parton musicals. I'm really hoping that Dolly Parton shows up in the second part of the final season of Grace and Frankie.
Yes.
Because then it would be a 9 to 5 reunion.
Oh, beautiful.
So I think that's all I got, Nick. What do you think?
Well, I think if you're not down with that, I've got 2 words for you.
Watch movies.
The Shameless Picture Show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Easton, Maryland, and is hosted and produced by Nick Richards and Michael Viers. Today's episode was edited by Nick Richards. Our opening theme music was written especially for us by The Directionals, with narration by Zach McLean. The end credit music you're enjoying at the moment was generously provided by my friends in the band 10 Speed. The Shameless graphic design is masterfully done by Amanda Viers. An extra special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. We are on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and Libsyn. You can find links for all these amazing people in the description below.